Welcome back, everyone, to another video from Movies and TVs on the Ball. Steve-O here, and for your consideration, it's TGIFF. Thank God it's Freakier Friday. I am finally going to be discussing the long-awaited sequel to Freaky Friday. This film came out last year in 2025. It's actually hit theaters. I think it hit theaters around October, and the original cast is pretty much back. You have Lindsay Lohan coming back as Anna Coleman. You have Jamie Lee Curtis back as Tess Coleman. Chad Michael Murray is back as Jake, and then you have Gibbs from NCIS as Ryan. He's back. And then you have new cast members as well. You have Lee Butler playing Harper Coleman, who you probably know from such films as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She was, I think, the daughter in American Housewives, Transparent, episodes of Criminal Minds. She did voice work for the television series Monsters at Work, and she's also done work in The Gray Man as well. She plays Harper Coleman, Anna's mother, Anna's daughter. You have Manny Giacchino, who plays Eric Ryers, Anna's fiance / soon-to-be husband, who you probably know from such films as the Good Place television series as The Good Place, Amazon's I Want You Back. He played Lieutenant Billy Fritz Avalon in Top Gun Maverick. And you also have returning cast members such as Maddie, played by Shastine Vadel, who was in See No Evil and Life with Mikey, and then Peg, played again by Haley Hudson, and of course you have Chad Michael Murray as Jake, returning for his character. You also have Mama P, the Asian woman from the Chinese restaurant, from the Asian restaurant, Rosalind Chow as Mama P, returning as, and Grandma Chang returning, Lucille Song returning as well from that movie. So when we're kind of going back to Freakier Friday, this film feels like it's a kind of a reunion if you think about it. This film came out about 2004, 21 years. I think 21 years. About 21 years since, or 21 to 22 years since the original one came out back in 2003. And this is kind of a reunion film. In this one, we're sort of introduced to kind of where the characters are now. Anna is now a music producer living in LA. She's working with a singer named Ella, who is this kind of new pop star coming out, and she's kind of producing music. She had a band, Pink Slip, and Pink Slip went all the way. You have Jamie Lee Curtis coming back as Tess, and she is a retired. Um, she's a retired therapist who now is living with Mark Harmon and kind of doing the grandmother thing. Then we have Anna's daughter. In this one is played by Julie Butler, Harper Coleman, who is a surfer, kind of a tomboyish girl who basically is sort of into surfing and swimming. And then we kind of get in the same ways as in the original, kind of the opening is Anna basically starts to knock on the door and says, you need to get ready for work, get ready for school. And she comes by and she tries to be more of the calm, cool parenting, which is a little bit different from the way it is done in Freaky Friday, where Anna is kind of more like she's trying to get her out of bed in that kind of way. And then so we're kind of introduced to, and we see that Jamie Lee Curtis Tess is kind of loving being a grandmother and doing co-parenting with Tess, and we're kind of introduced to her. There's a bake sale going on, and at the bake sale she's introduced to her lab partner, who is I think her name is Lily, and Lily is trying to is working on an experiment where they're using they're using beaker buns and beaker buns and beakers, and it blows, and it kind of we have a huge explosion that happens at the science lab, and this is where Anna ends up running into her future boyfriend / husband, in the words of Eric. And Eric basically they kind of meet in detention, and we have the principal sort of basically play matchmaker and hook them up. We get sort of a montage of them kind of falling in love, which just kind of goes pretty quick, which I kind of like. I like the fact that they didn't really spend so much time just on them wanting to get married, kind of falling in love, and it's sort of the big wedding day which is kind of a nice wink at Mean Girls, which kind of was directed by the original director of Freaky Friday, which was October 3rd is the date. Now, this film is not directed by just 411. This film is not directed by the original director. This director is directed by Nasha Gantara, who directed films such as Late Night with Emma Thompson and Mindy Kaling and John Lithgow. And she also did films such as television shows as Dollface for Hulu and the Sex and the City sequel series, and Just Like That, and High Notes as well. So you kind of get, so it's kind of I think that's what's interesting about this film is it sort of feels like, I think if they would have gotten Mark Waters back to direct this film, I think it would have had a little bit more pizzazz, but I think it's a little bit different than this one. So we're kind of introduced. So they fall in love, and they've got the date, which is October 3rd, which is kind of like Mean Girls, and that, and so we see them sort of living, kind of trying to be, trying to be a family. There's a bake sale going on, and at the bake sale, um, we have um, Eric, who is a pastry chef, made a bunch of these pastries, and for uh, Lily to sell, and um, Tess baked up a bunch of old-fashioned homemade chocolate chip cookies for um for Harper to sell, and so they start to kind of fight over the table, and then there's a there's this kind of this fun scene where she's getting paste icing all over one of the girls' dresses. They end up having a huge food fight, and after the food fight, they get in trouble with the principal and have to go into the principal. So that's kind of how the film ends. So we kind of get this sort of like they hate each other, and really it's about about Tess and not Tess, Anna and Eric's daughters really trying to reconsider everything, and so the so that night so they have sort of a rehearsal, kind of a bachelorette party for Anna, and this is kind of a nice. This film does feel like a reunion for Freaky Friday, because we see a bunch of images of pictures of Anna in kind of as a teenager with her friends, and there's a picture of her and Jake, played by Chad Michael Murray, and one of the somebody says, or let's see, it's Harper says, "Who's that?" And she's like, and and Maddie and Peg says, "That's Harper. That's Jake, Anna's first crush and boyfriend." And they have this kind of moment, and then we kind of get what's interesting about this one is, in the original film, Anna and Tess have sort of a fight in a Chinese restaurant, and they end up getting fortune cookies, and the fortune cookies switch them to be who they are, to switch places pretty much. And in this one, what we get is Anna and Tess go to a fortune teller, and the fortune teller, who's played by Vanessa Bayer, who was from SNL. She also was in Trainwreck, and she's been recently in the Scrubs reboot series. Kind of says that it's sort of this kind of Anna and Tess think it's kind of phony baloney, and she ends up kind of putting a curse or a spell on Anna and Tess and Harper and Harper and Lily, and that night they switch places. And I kind of like what they did with this one, with Free and Freakier Friday, because I like the fact that they said, well, what would, because originally, if you looked at Freaky Friday, the first one, Freaky Friday, they basically, at the end of the first one, it was supposed to be the grandpa and and Harry switching places, and they kind of, that was kind of a wink that there's a sequel. And in this one, I kind of like that they kind of gave you sort of two people, or two groups of people switching places. Like, four or more is the merrier. And in this one, so basically, the Anna and Tess are in her daughter's body, her daughter and her soon-to-be stepdaughter's body, and Lily and Harper are in Anna and Tessa's body. So I like how they kind of mixed matched it and put the four of them, swapped bodies with the four of them. And I kind of liked how they swapped it with the four of them, where where now Anna and Tess are, the kids are in the adults' bodies, vice versa. And we see sort of how their plan is to basically, and it kind of has that Parent Trap, we're going to break up our parents to, because that's kind of their plan. And so Anna and Tess end up trying to kind of sabotage them to break up. We get Anna meets Anna and Tess as Lily and Harper are kind of stuck in school. I like the fact that we get Stephen Tobolowsky coming back as Mr. Stephen Tobolowsky coming back as Mr. Bates, which I thought was kind of a nice kind of wink at the audience. So, and this one, I think, works pretty well. I like how they kind of start to sabotage each other. Anna, or Tess tries to finds Jake, who is Anna's first boyfriend from the first movie, Chad Michael Murray, and he at this point is now working at a record store, and he is and he's kind of really became more friends with Anna, and really is sort of showing Anna when they're kind of switched together. Anna goes to the record store, and she tries to flirt a little bit with Jake, and Jake kind of thinks she's having a stroke. So there's a lot of funny moments. I think that this film really works really well. This film feels like it's a nice reunion movie with for Freakier Friday. I like, it's like kind of coming back to, for millennials, this is a good film that come back to. I like how there's not really, there really wasn't I think if you looked at the first one, the closest thing to a villain was Stephen Tobolowsky's character, because he just trying to make Anna's life hard, but really it's sort of her trying to it's really Anna trying, or the girls trying to kind of come to terms with it. There's also a cameo with Elaine Hendricks, who, if you remember in Parent Trap, she played the evil stepmother. She shows up in this movie as Anna's fashion boss or something, and I really like that character. I like that it felt kind of like, oh, she showed up, and I think that's what made this movie so great. Was, the plot, I think, was of course kind of mixed with Freaky Friday with the Parent Trap ish kind of feel to it, and I liked how this movie felt like a good reunion film with the cast, and I think everybody was great. There's a really good moment where Anna or where uh, Lily's having a conversation at the bachelorette party with Anna with Tess, and Tess is kind of like saying, "Look, when I know how you feel. I know how Anna felt when she was trying to when I was trying to marry Ryan, and Anna, and I think there's a little bit difference of the way Lily reacts. That's a little bit different than the way Anna reacts, because I think Anna in the first one was so, if you looked at the villain, Anna was so stretched away from Ryan that and I think that's kind of how Anna sees it. But I really thought this movie felt like a really good reunion film. I think the cast is great. It's kind of great to see everybody back together. They had the band Pink Slip is back. I like the fact that Anna's kind of has an actual. She really branched out and did her music career as a producer in this film, which I felt like this film could have gone the other way, where she would have been like, all I do is work for, trying to make it big. But I'm glad that she's made it big. There's a singer that she works with named Ella, who is kind of a secondary character, and I think it works. She works pretty well as sort of a thing there. Anna goes into is basically writing after we kind of see that Pink Slip was a band. They kind of broke up, and Anna starts to write, and there's this song that Anna's writing called "I'm Your Everything," which Harper tries to think that it's about Jake, but it's really about her. So it really works really well. I like this film. I think it works really well. I think that the cast is great. I felt like a reunion between the it felt like a Freaky Friday reunion, I think, and that's what made it work really well. And for a Disney film, and the fact that this Disney film is PG really makes it work. It's a good matinee film. I like the cast. I think it was great to see Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis back as Tess and Anna, and I like how there's like a lot of there's a scene where we see kind of the way their Friday's going, where Anna or Tess is in Tess and Ryan play pickleball with these really aggressive, competitive players that really like are, trying to win the championship. Anna and Eric, I think it's his name. Anna and Eric are trying to get her citizenship to marry a Englander. And I think it works really well. I think the cast works. It's a great matinee film. I think it's a great, if you're a fan of Freaky Friday, it's a nice reunion sequel that really works. I think that the cast works great. I think it maybe lacks a little bit of of the original director's charm. This is directed by Nisha Ganta, who is a pretty decent director. She's kind of done a lot more TV. She did like Sex and City, the sequel series and stuff like that. So I kind of wish Mark Waters was back. Just he would have given it a little bit more pump. But this is a good reunion movie. I would probably say Freaky Friday, which has gotten Freakier Friday, which has got about 6.2 out of 39,000 views. It's very, and I think the first one just felt more richer, and I felt like this one was a good attempt, but it wasn't. It kind of needed just a little bit more spark to it, just a little bit. Like it just needed that little bit spark to it to make it really work. I mean, it's not the cast's fault. I don't know if it's the writing. I don't know if it's directing, but I like it. But the first one felt had a little bit more charm to it. This one, I think, is a good sequel. I think. I don't think it's a bad sequel, but it's not like a Terminator to Terminator 2 kind of thing. IMDb gave it a 6.2 out of 10. I'm looking. I think Freakier Friday got a 73% on Rotten Tomato from critics and like a 91% from audiences. So it's a good sequel. I liked it. I liked it. I think it's a good, they didn't slouch on this sequel, which they could have. It's a reunion movie. I felt like it's a strong reunion movie. I like the cast. I like the acting. I think there's fun. It did feel kind of. I like the fact that we got to see. It's a fun matinee film, but I think the first one had I don't know if it just was Mark Waters' comedy or direction, but I feel like the first Freaky Friday just has a tiny little bit of magic that this one tries to have, but it just kind of fails at. So I'm gonna give Freakier Friday, on a scale from 1 to 100, I'll give it a 91. As 91, as Rotten Tomato gave it 73 to 91%. I really think that it's a really good nostalgic sequel that really works. That works really well. I like the cast. I like the energy, but it just needed one more element to make it a classic, as good as the first one. But that's my look at Freakier Friday. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. This is just kind of a quick look at it. I really think it's a good sequel, but let me know. Anyway, I'm Steve, and happy TGIFF, and welcome. Thank you for listening to Delightful Disney. As always, like, subscribe, and see you at the movies. Bye.